Have you ever wondered what makes a man go from being curious to genuinely captivated, from casual interest to being completely focused on you? If you've ever felt frustrated by modern dating, second-guessing your every move, or wondering why he's not as invested as you are, this is for you. Too often we get caught up in outdated advice or focus on surface-level tactics that miss the mark. But what if the key to gaining his devotion wasn't about changing him, but transforming your approach? Here's the truth. Men connect deeply, not because of who you pretend to be, but because of the energy you radiate and the boundaries you set. In this video, we're diving into 7 transformative principles that don't just create attraction, they make him truly value you. These aren't shallow tricks or games. They are timeless insights rooted in stoicism and emotional intelligence, designed to help you master the art of connection and self-respect. Imagine stepping into your power and becoming the person he can't stop thinking about. Not because you're pursuing him, but because you've become authentically magnetic. That's what we're going to uncover today. And here's the best part. These principles don't just help him connect with you, they help you connect more deeply with yourself. Ready to get started? Let's begin with the first powerful mindset shift that can transform how men see you. Number 1, be comfortable walking away. Here's a question. Have you ever stayed in a relationship longer than you should have because you were afraid of being alone? Maybe you tolerated behavior that left you feeling unappreciated or even dismissed because you didn't want to lose him. If this resonates, you're not alone. But here's the truth. The moment you start fearing the end of a relationship, you lose your personal power. Men are drawn to strength and independence. It's not about being distant or detached. It's about knowing your worth so well that you're not afraid to walk away when your standards aren't being met. This isn't just about dating, it's stoicism in action. It's the art of staying grounded in your self-worth, no matter how others behave. Picture this. You're with someone who's been distant or inconsistent. Instead of hoping he'll change, you confidently set your boundaries and express your expectations. You say, "I value honesty and effort, and it feels like we're not on the same page. I'm willing to walk away if that's what's best for both of us." Do you feel the strength in those words? You're not pleading or begging. You're showing that your happiness doesn't depend on external validation. When you master this principle, something remarkable happens. People start to see you differently. They begin to view your time, attention, and presence as privileges, not guarantees. And here's the secret. When you're willing to walk away, they are far more likely to step up. Why? Because people naturally value what feels scarce. This is one of the core principles of emotional intelligence. People appreciate what they might lose. But let me ask you this. Are you ready to put yourself first? To stop settling for less than you deserve? This doesn't mean walking away at the first sign of trouble. It means setting clear boundaries and following through when those boundaries are crossed. Remember, healthy relationships are built on mutual respect. If the effort isn't mutual, walking away isn't giving up. It's making space for something better. Let's reflect for a moment. Think back to a time when you stayed in a situation that didn't serve you. How did it make you feel? Did you lose a little bit of your confidence each time you compromised on what you truly deserved? Now, imagine how empowering it would feel to say, "I'm worth more than this," and act accordingly. Walking away isn't just an act of courage, it's an act of self-love. It's saying, "I trust myself to make decisions that honor my worth." And guess what? People respect those who respect themselves. They're drawn to the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need them, but chooses to be with them. So what does this look like in practice? First, you need to identify your deal breakers. Is it a lack of effort, dishonesty, or emotional unavailability? Whatever it is, be clear about it in your mind. Then communicate those boundaries calmly and confidently. If those boundaries are crossed, don't just threaten to leave. Be prepared to follow through. This isn't about punishing anyone, it's about honoring yourself. Here's the beauty of this. Even if they don't step up, you're still winning. Why? Because you've freed yourself to attract someone who will, someone who sees your value and treats you accordingly. And that's what makes this first act so transformative. It's not just about making someone fall for you, it's about falling in love with yourself. Before we move on to the next act, let me leave you with this question. What's one area in your life where you've been afraid to set boundaries? How would it feel to reclaim your power in that area? Number 2, value your attention. In today's world, where distractions are abundant and attention seems to be a valuable commodity, learning to truly value your attention is more important than ever. Your attention is a limited resource. It's not something to be given away freely or carelessly. When you recognize the value of your attention, you stop focusing on people or situations that don't deserve it. Instead, you direct it toward what truly matters, fostering deeper connections and creating a sense of self-worth that is both attractive and empowering. When you place value on your attention, you send a clear message to those around you, especially to men, that you're not available to anyone who doesn't respect or appreciate you. Men are naturally drawn to women who know their worth and aren't afraid to prioritize their own well-being. They want to be around women who have confidence and self-respect, women who know that their attention isn't something to be taken for granted. Stoicism, a philosophy deeply rooted in the idea of self-control and clarity, teaches us that we should focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. Your attention, like your time, is one of those things you have control over. The Stoic approach emphasizes the importance of setting boundaries, recognizing what's within your power, and not allowing your attention to be consumed by things that don't serve your growth or well-being. When you fail to value your attention, you may find yourself constantly distracted by people, situations, or activities that drain your energy. Whether it's giving your attention to someone who isn't fully invested in you, engaging in toxic dynamics, or overextending yourself to please others, this lack of self-awareness can leave you feeling unfulfilled and drained. However, by recognizing your attention as a valuable asset, you reclaim your power and create space for deeper, more meaningful connections. Men are naturally drawn to women who radiate self-assurance and emotional independence. When a man sees that you're in control of your own life and not chasing after his attention, he becomes curious. He begins to wonder, why isn't she chasing after me? What's so intriguing about her? This creates a dynamic where his respect and admiration for you naturally deepen. Here are some practical ways to begin valuing your attention. Set boundaries. Boundaries aren't just about protecting your time, they're also about protecting your energy. When you clearly define what's acceptable and what's not, you ensure that your attention isn't constantly being pulled in different directions. For instance, if a man isn't reciprocating your effort or treating you with respect, it's okay to step back. You don't need to invest your attention into someone who doesn't value you. Prioritize yourself. Spend your attention on activities, goals, and relationships that align with your values and bring you joy. When you focus on personal growth, whether it's pursuing your passions, nurturing friendships, or advancing your career, you naturally become more magnetic. Men are drawn to women who have lives that reflect purpose and clarity. They want women who are emotionally self-sufficient and whose attention isn't scattered but intentional. Practice discernment. Not everyone deserves your attention. Some people might seek it without truly valuing it. Be discerning about where you direct your focus, When someone shows consistent effort, respect, and interest in getting to know you, your attention becomes a valuable gift. But if someone takes it for granted or shows disrespect, it's perfectly okay to walk away. The key here is recognizing that your attention is a resource, not something to be given away indiscriminately. When you treat your attention as a valuable asset, it encourages others to treat you with the respect you deserve. Men are naturally drawn to women who have a sense of self-worth and who don't give their attention away freely. By valuing your attention, you send a clear message that you're not desperate or clinging to external validation. Instead, you're focused on what truly matters: your happiness, your growth, and the connections that bring meaning to your life. This shift in mindset not only improves your relationships, but also enhances your self-confidence and emotional resilience. So, ask yourself, where are you currently placing your attention? Are there relationships, situations, or people that don't deserve it? Start consciously directing your attention toward what brings you joy, growth, and fulfillment. When you prioritize yourself and value your attention, you'll attract those who respect and admire you for who you truly are. Number 3, emotional independence. In relationships, emotional independence isn't about being aloof or disconnected. It's about having a strong sense of self, where your happiness, worth, and emotional well-being don't rely solely on others. Emotional independence is one of the most attractive traits a woman can cultivate, especially when it comes to relationships. It's the foundation of healthy connections, where you maintain your autonomy while still allowing space for love and intimacy. When you lack emotional independence, you risk becoming overly dependent on others for validation, attention, and happiness. This dependence often leads to feelings of insecurity, neediness, and a lack of self-confidence. When a man senses that a woman is emotionally reliant on him for happiness, approval, or stability, it can create pressure, imbalance, and even discomfort. On the other hand, when a woman is emotionally independent, she projects confidence, self-assurance, and an aura of stability. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-control and self-reliance, provides valuable insights into developing emotional independence. Stoics teach that we should focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and let go of what is beyond our control, such as the actions or emotions of others. By cultivating emotional independence, you take responsibility for your own happiness and avoid becoming emotionally dependent on someone else for your well-being. Why is emotional independence so attractive? Men are naturally drawn to self-sufficient women. When a man encounters a woman who is emotionally independent, he doesn't feel the weight of responsibility to fill emotional gaps or provide constant validation. Instead, he sees a woman who knows her worth and who is content on her own terms. This creates a dynamic where the man can be a part of her life, but not the sole source of her happiness. Emotional independence signals strength, confidence, and the capacity to handle life's ups and downs. It reduces neediness and attachment issues. Emotional independence helps prevent the cycle of seeking constant reassurance or clinging to relationships out of fear of abandonment. When a man sees that you are emotionally secure and self-sufficient, he feels less pressure to be your emotional savior. Instead, he's drawn to the calm and self-assured energy you exude, which fosters deeper and more meaningful connections. You attract healthier relationships. Emotional independence not only boosts your own well-being, but it also sets the stage for healthier, more balanced relationships. When you're emotionally independent, you're less likely to settle for less than you deserve. You're more capable of recognizing when a relationship isn't serving you and taking steps to walk away if necessary. This sends a clear message to men that you know your worth, which often inspires respect and admiration. You inspire others to value you more. Men are naturally drawn to women who have a life of their own, passions, goals, and pursuits that bring them fulfillment. When you are emotionally independent, you don't need someone to complete you. Instead, you have a full, vibrant life that others are drawn to be a part of. This attracts men who respect your independence and are eager to be a supportive part of your life, rather than someone you need to lean on for emotional support. How to cultivate emotional independence. Focus on self-awareness and self-reflection. Take the time to understand what makes you happy, what fulfills you, and what areas of your life you want to strengthen. The more you know yourself, the less you rely on others to define your value. Journaling, meditating, or simply reflecting on your values and goals can help you build a strong sense of self-awareness. Pursue your passions and interests. When you're invested in personal growth and hobbies, your attention isn't solely on your relationship. Whether it's pursuing a career, engaging in creative pursuits, or nurturing friendships, your life becomes rich and fulfilling. This naturally draws people toward you and makes you more attractive because they see someone who's passionate and self-reliant. Set emotional boundaries. Boundaries are crucial to maintaining emotional independence. Knowing what you're willing to accept and what you're not helps you avoid becoming emotionally drained or overly reliant on someone. If someone isn't respectful of your boundaries or your emotional needs, it's important to let them go. By doing so, you send a message that your emotional well-being is non-negotiable. Focus on your own happiness first. When your happiness isn't tied solely to the attention or approval of others, you exude a sense of calm and confidence. Men are attracted to women who are emotionally secure, as they offer a foundation of stability that inspires trust and respect. Practice self-sufficiency. The more emotionally independent you are, the less you depend on others to feel validated or secure. You take responsibility for your own emotions and reactions, which not only strengthens your self-worth, but also increases your sense of resilience. Final thoughts. Emotional independence doesn't mean you don't need anyone in your life. What it means is that you know how to nurture yourself and prioritize your well-being. When you embody emotional independence, you attract men who admire your strength, confidence, and self-awareness. It sets you apart as a woman who knows her worth and is capable of forming deeper, more fulfilling connections. Number 4, give him space to chase. One of the most powerful strategies in any relationship is the art of giving a man space to pursue you. This principle isn't about playing hard to get or creating unnecessary tension. It's about maintaining balance and creating a dynamic where he naturally feels motivated to chase you. When done with intention, this act can transform a relationship, making it deeper and more fulfilling. Why is giving space to chase so important? Men are wired to seek out challenges. They are naturally drawn to things that require effort and commitment. When a woman constantly pursues, seeks validation, or tries to control the connection, it often diminishes a man's desire to chase after her. The chase is what fuels emotional investment. When a man has to work for what he wants, his level of investment and attachment naturally grows. In the realm of dark Stoic psychology, this principle emphasizes control over your own desires and actions, creating an environment where men must earn your attention, respect, and affection. Giving him space doesn't mean disappearing entirely. Instead, it means stepping back to allow him the opportunity to show up, pursue, and invest in you. It fosters his desire and emotional investment. When a man is given the chance to pursue and earn your attention, his desire to be with you grows. Think of it like a pursuit of something valuable. People don't value what comes too easily. By giving him space, you're allowing him to explore his own desire and motivation, leading to a deeper connection. It enhances your self-worth and confidence. When you don't feel the need to constantly chase or seek validation, you exude confidence and self-assurance. Men are naturally drawn to women who are emotionally independent and secure. When you hold your space, they begin to perceive you as someone who is confident, self-sufficient, and not overly reliant on them for emotional support. It prevents burnout and neediness. One of the key signs of imbalance in a relationship is when one person becomes overly invested while the other remains passive. Constant pursuit leads to neediness, which can feel draining to both parties. By giving space, you ensure that neither of you feels suffocated, creating a healthier dynamic where both individuals feel respected and valued. How to give space while maintaining attraction. Set boundaries on your availability. Men respect women who have their own lives and aren't constantly available. Set boundaries on how much time and energy you dedicate to the relationship. This means not being too available or too responsive to his every message or call. Let him initiate conversations, plan dates, and show interest on his own terms. Maintain your own life and interests. The more fulfilled and busy you are with your own passions, goals, and pursuits, the less dependent you become on his attention. Men are naturally attracted to women who have their own lives, interests, and pursuits. By focusing on your personal growth and well-being, you naturally project confidence and self-assurance, which draws him in without needing constant validation. Encourage him to work for your affection. When a man feels he has to work for your attention, he appreciates it more. Instead of giving away your time, energy, and affection too freely, allow him to earn your attention by investing in you. Whether it's initiating conversations, making plans, or showing effort, the pursuit keeps his interest alive. Be selectively responsive. Don't feel obligated to respond immediately to every message or call. Allow some time to pass, giving him the space to reach out again. This doesn't mean ignoring him entirely, but rather creating a rhythm that shows you have your own life and priorities. When he senses that you're not waiting around, he becomes more motivated to engage and invest. Let him feel the consequences of his actions. If a man feels he can take you for granted, he may lose interest. By giving space, you let him know that your time and attention are valuable and should be earned. When he understands that not all of your time is freely available, he's more likely to put in the effort to keep your connection strong. Maintain emotional self-sufficiency. Part of giving him space is recognizing that your emotional well-being doesn't depend solely on his actions. When you cultivate emotional independence and self-sufficiency, you create a foundation of strength that attracts men who respect and value you. Men are drawn to women who aren't overly dependent or clingy, but who know their worth and independence. Real-life example. Mia, a woman I know, was always the one reaching out, initiating conversations, and trying to hold on to connections. After realizing that her neediness was pushing men away, she decided to take a step back. Instead of being overly available, she began setting boundaries and focusing on her own personal growth. Number 5. Celebrate your own life. One of the most transformative acts you can adopt in your relationships is to celebrate and prioritize your own life. This isn't about being selfish or self-absorbed. It's about cultivating a deep sense of self-worth and independence that naturally draws others in. Men are attracted to women who are vibrant, confident, and living their lives with purpose. When you're busy building a fulfilling life filled with passions, goals, and interests, you become magnetic. Why is celebrating your own life so important? Men are naturally drawn to women who have something meaningful going on outside of the relationship. When you're fully engaged in your own pursuits, whether it's your career, hobbies, friendships, or personal growth, your energy becomes captivating. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate confidence, self-assurance, and passion. It shows that you're self-sufficient, emotionally grounded, and not dependent on them for your happiness. In dark Stoic psychology, this principle aligns closely with the idea of emotional independence. When you derive your sense of fulfillment from within, rather than seeking validation from others, you project an irresistible energy. Men are attracted to women who are not clinging, but rather centered and secure. By focusing on yourself, you send the message that you're complete without needing anyone else to complete you. It increases your confidence and self-worth. When you actively celebrate your own life, you naturally project confidence and self-assurance. Men are drawn to women who exude this energy because it signals emotional strength and stability. Instead of needing their validation to feel good about yourself, you're already fulfilled and content. This self-assuredness makes you more attractive because it shows that your happiness isn't dependent on them. It keeps the relationship dynamic healthy. When you prioritize your own life, you prevent the relationship from becoming imbalanced. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own interests and aren't overly reliant on them for happiness. When you're too focused on the relationship, it can lead to neediness and burnout. However, when you celebrate your own life, you create a balance that keeps both of you feeling fulfilled. It cultivates emotional independence. Men are often drawn to women who are emotionally self-sufficient. When you focus on your own goals, passions, and pursuits, you demonstrate that you don't need him to complete you. This creates an environment where he feels inspired to invest, rather than feeling the pressure to be your sole source of happiness. Emotional independence builds respect and admiration, leading to deeper connection. It sparks his curiosity and desire. When you're fully immersed in your own life, pursuing your passions, he naturally becomes curious about what drives you. This sparks intrigue, as men are naturally drawn to women who are living with purpose and direction. When there's a sense of discovery, he's motivated to get to know you on a deeper level, as there's always something new to learn about you. It reduces clinginess and neediness. One of the most attractive qualities in a woman is independence. When you rely too heavily on your relationship for validation or emotional support, it can come across as clingy or needy. By focusing on your own life and achievements, you naturally become less dependent on him for attention or reassurance. This shift allows him to feel less burdened and more drawn to your confident, self-assured energy. How to celebrate your own life in practice. Pursue your passions and hobbies, investing time in activities that bring you joy, whether it's fitness, travel, creative projects, or learning new skills, fosters a sense of purpose and fulfillment. When you're excited about your own life, your energy becomes magnetic, drawing people in naturally. Set personal goals and achieve them. Having goals that are meaningful to you, whether they're career-related, personal development-focused, or related to your well-being, demonstrates that you're driven and focused. Achieving these goals gives you a sense of accomplishment and attracts people who admire ambition and confidence. Nurture your friendships and relationships. Healthy relationships thrive when you have a strong support system outside of your romantic connection. Spending time with friends, family, and nurturing those connections shows that your life isn't centered solely around one person. This not only enhances your own life, but also gives him space to pursue his own relationships and interests. Set boundaries and prioritize your well-being. Taking care of yourself, both mentally and emotionally, is key. Setting boundaries ensures that you don't become consumed by the relationship, which prevents imbalance and dependence. When you prioritize your own well-being, it creates space for a more balanced and respectful connection. Real-life example. Julia, a woman I know, always felt the need to be constantly available to her partner. However, After realizing the impact of prioritizing her own life, she decided to invest time in her passions, travel, creative projects, and personal development. As she focused on her own growth, she noticed a shift in her relationship dynamic. Her partner became more curious, engaged, and invested because he saw her as someone who was vibrant, self-assured, and living a fulfilling life. Final thoughts. Celebrating your own life isn't about being disconnected from your relationship. It's about creating balance. When you invest in yourself, your passions, and your well-being, you naturally become more attractive, confident, and self-sufficient. Men are drawn to women who are emotionally independent, and by celebrating your life, you create a magnetic energy that keeps them engaged and invested. Number 6. Set boundaries and keep them. Let's talk about something powerful yet often overlooked: boundaries. When was the last time you set a boundary in a relationship and actually stuck to it? Be honest. Have you ever bent your standards just to keep the peace or avoid losing someone? If so, you're not alone. But here's the truth that might surprise you. Boundaries don't push men away. They pull the right ones closer. Boundaries aren't walls. They're signposts that say, "This is what I value, and this is how I expect to be treated." When you enforce them, you're not just protecting yourself, you're showing him that you respect your own worth. Men are wired to admire strength and clarity, and nothing demonstrates that better than a woman who knows her limits and doesn't compromise them for anyone. The fear of setting boundaries. Let's address the elephant in the room. Many women fear that setting boundaries will make them seem too difficult or high maintenance. Have you ever thought, if I speak up, he might think I'm being demanding, and he'll leave? It's a common worry, but here's the reality. The right man will respect your boundaries, not resent them. In fact, boundaries are what make a relationship thrive, because they create a foundation of mutual respect. Why boundaries are essential. At their core, boundaries are about protecting your emotional well-being. They prevent you from overextending yourself and ensure that you're giving and receiving in equal measure. When you set a boundary, you're saying, "I value myself, and I expect you to value me too." That's not selfish, it's healthy. Example. Imagine you're seeing someone who constantly cancels plans last minute. Maybe he has a valid excuse, or maybe he doesn't. Either way, it leaves you feeling frustrated and unimportant. The old version of you might shrug it off, hoping he'll change. But the high-value version of you sets a boundary. You calmly say, "I understand things come up, but I need reliability in a relationship. If you can't commit to plans, it's better to let me know up front." What happens next? One of two things. Either he respects your time and steps up, or he doesn't, and you walk away. Either outcome is a win, because you're prioritizing your self-respect over his approval. Courage over comfort. Setting boundaries isn't always easy. It takes courage to say no, especially if you're used to being a people pleaser. It can feel uncomfortable, even scary, to risk conflict or rejection. But let me ask you, what's scarier? Momentary discomfort, or spending your life in a relationship where you feel unseen and undervalued? Boundaries are deeply tied to Stoicism, which teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. You can't control how someone reacts to your boundaries, but you can control whether or not you enforce them. By doing so, you're taking responsibility for your happiness and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. How to set boundaries? Begin by identifying your non-negotiables. What behaviors or situations make you feel disrespected or drained? Write them down and get crystal clear on what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. Then, practice communicating those boundaries calmly and confidently. Use I statements like, "I feel disrespected when plans are cancelled last minute," rather than accusatory language like, You never keep your word. Here's the key. Boundaries only work if you enforce them. If you set a limit and then let him cross it without consequence, you're sending the message that your words don't carry weight. A real-life example. Let me share a story about a client of mine, Rachel. She was in a relationship with a man who often made hurtful jokes at her expense. At first, she laughed them off, thinking they were harmless. Over time, though, those jokes chipped away at her confidence. When she finally confronted him, she said, "I don't find those comments funny, and I won't tolerate being disrespected." His response? He apologized and stopped the behavior immediately. Why? Because Rachel's boundary made it clear that she valued herself, and he respected her more because of it. Boundaries inspire growth. Boundaries aren't just about protecting yourself, they set the tone for how others treat you. And here's the best part. When you enforce your boundaries, you inspire him to step into his best self. Men respect women who challenge them to be better, and boundaries are one of the most effective ways to do that. If this idea resonates with you and you're ready to start setting boundaries in your own life, like this video and comment number 1 below. Your engagement helps us reach more women who need this message and keeps this empowering conversation going. If you're not already part of this community, hit that subscribe button to join us on this journey of self-discovery and transformation. You've already come so far. Let's dive into the final act where everything comes together in the most powerful way yet. Stay with me. You don't want to miss it. Number 7. Embrace mystery. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you left a man wanting more, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that sparked his curiosity, fueled his desire, and made him eager to uncover the layers of who you are? If you're always an open book, laying all your emotions, intentions, and stories out on the table, you might unintentionally be missing out on one of the most powerful tools of attraction: mystery. Men are inherently drawn to the unknown. It's not because they want games or confusion, but because curiosity is a natural driver of emotional investment. When there's a sense of discovery, they are motivated to learn more, connect on a deeper level, and win the privilege of truly knowing you. That's why the art of embracing mystery is so transformative. It doesn't just attract him, it keeps him captivated. But here's the thing, mystery isn't about withholding or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about pacing, letting him peel back the layers of your personality, passions, and emotions over time, rather than handing him the entire story up front. Think of it like reading a great novel. Would it be as satisfying if the ending was revealed on page 1? Of course not. The intrigue comes from the journey, the twists, turns, and gradual unfolding of the plot. Here's how you can cultivate that same intrigue in your relationships. First, resist the urge to overshare too soon. It's natural to want to bond over shared experiences, but when you give away too much too fast, it can overwhelm the connection. Instead, let him ask questions. Give him the chance to earn your trust and draw out your stories. When he works for your openness, he values it more. For example, imagine you're on a date and he asks about your past relationships. Instead of diving into a detailed explanation, keep it simple. "I've learned a lot from them, and I'm grateful for those experiences." That one statement shows maturity, reflection, and emotional grounding without giving away every detail. And guess what? It leaves him wanting to know more. This principle is rooted in dark Stoic psychology, which emphasizes control over how much of yourself you reveal. When you're selective about what you share and when, and maintain control over the dynamic, you're not withholding out of fear or manipulation. You're creating space for intrigue and emotional investment. When he feels like there's always more to discover about you, he stays engaged. But mystery isn't just about what you say, it's about how you live. Men are drawn to women who have rich, independent lives, filled with passions and interests that aren't solely tied to him. When you're busy building your career, pursuing your hobbies, and nurturing your friendships, you naturally exude an air of intrigue. He'll start to wonder, what does she think about? What's she working on? What inspires her? And the more he wonders, the more he's drawn to you. This is where stoicism comes into play. By focusing on your own growth and happiness, you create a sense of emotional self-sufficiency that's deeply attractive. You're not leaning on him to fill your life. You're inviting him to be part of it. That subtle shift changes everything. Let me share a quick story. A woman I know, Mia, was constantly over-explaining herself in relationships. She felt the need to prove her worth by sharing every detail about her life, her dreams, and even her fears. While her intentions were good, she noticed that men often seemed less engaged over time. One day, she decided to take a different approach. Instead of explaining herself, she started asking thoughtful questions, listening more, and sharing her thoughts in measured doses. The result? Men began opening up to her, leaning in, and valuing her presence more than ever. By embracing mystery, Mia transformed her dating life and her confidence skyrocketed. But let's address the elephant in the room. Does embracing mystery mean you're holding back who you truly are? Not at all. It's not about hiding, it's about inviting. You're still authentic, still yourself, but you're letting the connection unfold naturally rather than rushing to reveal everything at once. This creates a dynamic where both of you feel excited and engaged, rather than overwhelmed or bored. Here's a practical way to put this into action. The next time you're tempted to send a long, detailed text explaining your feelings or plans, pause and ask yourself, am I leaving room for curiosity? Instead, send a concise, thoughtful message that leaves space for him to engage. Let the conversation flow naturally rather than trying to control it. You'll be amazed at how this small shift can change the energy between you. Embracing mystery is about mastering the balance of openness and restraint. It's about showing enough to pique his interest while holding enough back to keep him intrigued. When you live with this balance, you create a sense of depth that men find irresistible. You become the woman who isn't just memorable, but unforgettable. And here's the best part. Mystery isn't something you create, it's something you are. Every woman has layers of complexity, strength, and beauty waiting to be discovered. By pacing how you reveal those layers, you give him the gift of truly earning your trust and affection. And when he earns it, he cherishes it. Remember, attraction isn't about giving away the ending, it's about letting him enjoy the story. Embrace your mystery and watch as he leans in, captivated by the journey of discovering you. That's the power of intrigue, and it's a power you've always had. Use it wisely.